Good morning. It is
Morning.
5:12 on a Thursday. Glad you're with us to start the day. One more day closer to the weekend, and we
Love a good weekend.
what's on the other side of the weekend too, with those warm temperatures.
But we just love a good weekend. Too.
Also fair. Hey, listen, if you're a mom or a dad or a guardian waking up this morning and you're kind of like, ugh, I am not feeling it, you're not alone. A lot of parents are just feeling so burnt out these days, and it's more than just being burnt out, it's feeling isolated and super lonely.
Yeah, lonely.
What is that? I mean, I don't have kids and I can't imagine, but a lot of the people that I know who do have children do feel that way.
I don't know if this is exclusive to parents, though. I don't know. Like, there are times that I'm like, man, I haven't talked to my friends in forever. And you do kind of feel like that.
Cut off.
The adulthood is tough.
Oh, yeah. You are literally doing something every single day, especially with children.
Yeah. I mean, certainly this study's done on parents, right? Okay. So we get that. They feel lonely and burnt out. But I do feel like there's probably a lot of people out there like, hey, I don't even have little kids anymore. My kids have grown up. And maybe you might feel the same way too.
So grab your phone, join the conversation here. What are you feeling these days? We're going to join in with our TV viewers.
Little group therapy this morning.
Love it.
Good morning, everybody. It is 5:13. We're glad to have you with us on this Thursday morning, getting closer and closer to the weekend, which we know we're looking forward to. We were just talking about this. If you join us in the break, we started Facebook Live early about how parents, this new study says, are feeling lonely and burnt out. They feel isolated.
Cut off from friends, cut off from adults outside in the real world.
Yeah, well, you know what? And you can see that when you are so focused on, taking care of and making sure other little people thrive, you don't put yourself first a lot.
And I kind of almost feel like they are, when I see this all the time, if you're a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad, you are really around children all day long. So you miss and long for those adult conversations.
You crave talking to somebody.
Exactly.
Absolutely. You sure do.
We also want to hear from you about not only how your children should be eating in schools, because there is a brand new requirement for schools that could change how school lunches are made. And this is going to affect your child's health. So we'll dig into those stories. Grab your phone, join us in the conversation. But first, look at some of today's top stories.
Neighbors in North Tonawanda now have a new internet service provider. Mayor Austin Tylick says Greenlight is now available for about 1,600 homes. Greenlight says it's working to add more poles and bring more neighbors access to the service. Last year, we told you the plan was to bring the low-cost fiber optic option to the city. Greenlight is currently available in parts of Buffalo and Cheektowaga. The lineup for this year's Borderland Music Festival at Knox Farm State Park has been released. The 6th annual Borderland Festival will include 3 days of performances starting September 13th. Some of this year's headliners include the Black Crowes, Camp, Marcus King, Corey Wong, and Dark Star Orchestra. Tickets go on sale tomorrow at noon. We've got a link to tickets and the full lineup on WKBW.com.
Say Dark Star Orchestra 3 times fast.
I can't.
Well, me neither. And our editor, Aaron, had a hard time, I'm sure, putting that together because I kept messing it up when I was trying to say it. Okay, let's talk about this. If you're a mom or dad waking up this morning and you are a little edgy, lack of a better term, you're not feeling it. Are you feeling isolated? Are you feeling alone? You're not alone when it comes to that kind of a feeling. Listen to these statistics. About 2/3 of parents who were surveyed felt the demands of parenthood left them feeling isolated and lonely. 40% felt as if they had no support for their parenting role.
And that's tough. These parents said they really value a way to connect with other parents outside of work and home. So maybe this is kind of really talking about the parents who are home most of the time. And we were just saying in the break too, and I think Jeanette is kind of echoing what I was saying too. This study was done on parents, but I don't think it's exclusive to parents. I think that there are a lot of people who we work so hard. We do, so many things that have to get done that at the end of the day, you don't get that time to connect with the people that you'd love to. Like, you get to maybe see your partner at the end of the day. But maybe right. Sometimes you're like ships in the night, right? Especially with our schedules, if you're up this early with us. But I do think there are some people too who like miss connecting with their friends. And Jeanette, I like your comment too. She says, I feel sad being one of my only friends without kids. I find it hard to make time when they have time to catch up. And I think it goes both ways, feeling lonely during adulthood. I completely agree. It is really hard to catch up with my friends who have kids. They probably feel the same way with my weird schedule, but it's really tough to connect sometimes.
So I found that as people age, right? As you age as an adult, it is so important then to find the people who are then kind of with you on similar interests. So in other words, while you age, you grow, and you grow apart from a lot of people. They've got children, they've got other interests going on.
I hate that though.
I know.
They're my closest friends.
You've got to find the other people though who are, you know, it's kind of like making new friends as an adult, and it's difficult.
I'm different than you. I am always the one who, and you do this. Found this on the web. Thanks, Siri. But I will always be the friend who will show up for the birthday party no matter what, even if like I'm driving an hour and a half, I'm going to the birthday party, everybody's got kids except me. Like I will not skip it. I go because I know it's important. And even though it's, I don't know, it just means a lot to be there, I think, even if you don't get that connection.
I will not go.
And
I will tell you why I will not go, because I have zero interest in being around running and screaming children as an adult with no kids. So I'll bring the birthday present another time, and that's really what I think all they want. Christopher says,
no, it's important to show up and be there. It's more for your friends, I think, for the adults to see that their friends really do care.
Christopher says, life is sometimes so busy, you don't have to connect with friends. Patricia says, I always thought it was easier to go to work than stay at home with kids.
Patricia.
Well, and no kidding.
I mean, right? Though there have to be days like that, right?
And then Karen says, I never put myself first. Cindy, I don't have children, but I feel the same at certain times.
So I do think this study was done on parents. I don't think it's exclusive to parents. I think if we did the same study on single adults or even married adults who, you know, we just don't, let's be real. We spend so much time working. We don't get that quality time with our friends.
Justin is so funny. At 100%, I'd rather play with dogs. I love this. The one thing that they do
I'll go to your dog's birthday party too.
They say community organizations and parenting groups are some other recommended ways to connect. I'll tell you this. The gym is a great place to meet other adults. And a lot of these people do have children, but it's a good way to get that adult interaction and take some time for yourself.
Well, it's hard to connect as adults when the kids are running around.
Exactly.
Because the parents have to be parenting, and that's fair, you know.
Kelly, good morning. I'm just a dog mom. He wakes me up for the show every morning. And that is a perfect alarm clock, right?
Good morning. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about school lunches here. New guidelines could change how meals are being made in our schools.
So they're trying to make them healthier. And really what they're doing is cutting out a lot of the sugar. So beginning in the 2025-26 school year, so it's going to be another year, the new standards call for certain products. And we're talking some of the ones that we do see a lot of sugar in, right? Breakfast cereals, yogurt flavored milk would have specific limits on added sugars.
So this is a huge deal. It's the first change to school meal standards by the USDA in 14 years. So more than a decade. I mean, when we're talking sugary foods, these are probably foods that you don't even allow in your house that are in some cases in schools. And I see Grace's comment here. Oh my gosh, the lunches at my grandkids' school is awful. They're microwavable, and most of the time they're not microwaved all the way. The kids complain that they're undercooked or cold, so now they start taking their lunch. And maybe that's a better option. You know, parents are able to control a little bit more what it is that their children are eating.
It's interesting too, because, you know, a lot of times you get kids that are just going to eat what they're going to eat, you know, and like sometimes at the end of the day, you're like, did they at least eat something?
Right. Well, and to Christopher's point here, lunches should be free. Sometimes it's the only guaranteed meal a child is getting.
Yeah, that's really tough. I do understand. Okay, Elizabeth says, yeah, look at the other lunches from other countries. It's really eye-opening. Lori says lunches were healthy or bad in the day.
Were they? Because I remember eating garbage when I was in school, like pizza bagels and Elio's pizza, having chocolate milk and an ice cream afterward.
Maybe
all for $2, no less.
But let's also talk about a difference between when we were kids and now. Is there was a lot more physical activity. Like you weren't running, you were doing stuff after school. You were maybe like running around doing. Maybe you weren't as sedentary.
Okay,
is that fair? I don't know. Like, did you play video games? Like,
I mean, not as much as I think kids are playing now.
Yeah. So I truthfully think like kids are going to eat sugar. Like I don't disagree with like, you know, trying to limit it, like totally good idea. But I do think they're going to eat sugar. I think the important thing is like a balance.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Connie says school lunches have been the talk for years. This is actually going to happen and stick. I agree. School lunches stink and have for decades. But though Justin's saying nutrition is an important foundational building block, it sets the stage for childhood obesity.
Jeanette says the muffins they give kids in the morning are just as bad as eating a bag of cookies.
Right.
School gives free breakfast and lunch. Staff is great, but they don't get to control what they serve.
Well, and so again, maybe this is for the best that parents are able to send their kids with lunches now.
Read that.
Thank you.
Pizza and mystery.
Erin's going to be tracking your 7 weather forecast for us right after this.